Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Golden Bachelorette. Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple's cooking video proves their perfect relationship isn't what it seems. They're beginning to bicker. The Golden Bachelorette's Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple have been celebrating their engagement. But there are several examples of the couple bickering, and it could be a sign of trouble in paradise. The bottom line is that 61-year-old Joan and 60-year-old Chock barely know each other. They met on the first night of the season when Chock stepped out of a limousine outside the iconic Bachelor mansion and met Joan. They've come a long way since that first night, and they're now officially an engaged couple. They've been together almost constantly since leaving the show as a couple. Since getting engaged at the end of the Golden Bachelorette Season 1, Joan and Chock have appeared blissfully happy. They can barely keep their hands off each other, and it would be difficult to find a photo or video clip in which they're not holding on to each other. They've been focused on getting to know each other better and bringing all their children together. In many ways, Joan and Chock appear to be the ideal couple building an amazing life together. But some moments suggest things may not be as perfect as they seem. Since leaving the Golden Bachelorette Season 1, Joan and Chock have been enjoying the start of their relationship, but there are probably awkward moments too. They've both been alone for a long time, and it takes time to get used to being with someone. Long before meeting Chock, Joan was married to John Vassos for 32 years before he passed away from cancer in 2021. They have 4 children together and were deeply in love when he fell ill. Finding herself all alone later in life, Joan decided to be a contestant on the Golden Bachelor Season 1. When things didn't work out between her and 72-year-old Jerry Turner, Joan was cast as the Bachelor spin-off's first female lead. By the time she was standing outside the mansion greeting Chock and the other 23 golden single men, she was already a well-known public figure. Like Joan, Chock had also lost his partner before deciding to look for love on national television. After his 12-year marriage to Heather Chapple ended in divorce, Chock dated Catherine Gorey, whom he loved deeply. The two were engaged for 9 years before Catherine died in 2022. Joan and Chock have both lost so much and deserve to find happiness. Since the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 finale, Joan and Chock have been together around the clock and have often been posting on social media. Joan recently posted an Instagram video of her and Chock cooking together, and it offered some insight into their relationship. In the video, Joan and Chock prepare a Kansas City-style barbecue in honor of Chock, who's from the Midwest. During the cute tutorial, the couple is preparing a 9-pound pork shoulder. When Chock goes to cut slits in the piece of meat for the garlic cloves, Joan snaps at him about how to do it properly. The moment was so notable that multiple people in the comment section pointed it out. One person wrote in defense of Chock, insisting he was doing the job properly before Joan interfered. The 2-day-old post has over 6K likes so far, and Joan's caption reads, "Our first cooking video together." At this rate, it could be their last cooking video together. It wasn't the first time it seemed like things were less than perfect between them. During Joan and Chock's recent trip to Disneyland, Joan recorded a video to post on Instagram. Since Joan was taking the video as a selfie, she and Chock were struggling to get into the frame at the same time. "Get in here," Joan jokingly says to Chock. "Pretend that you like me." They say there's a little truth in every joke, and Chock's face at Joan's comment says it all. Joan liked Chock from the moment they met on the Golden Bachelorette Season 1, and she even gave him the highly coveted first solo date. The pair went to Disneyland, where they took in the sights, rode some rides, and connected over shared values and experiences. They ended the date with a romantic kiss under the famous Disney fireworks display. Their first Disneyland date bonded them, and it's no surprise that Joan and Chock wanted to go back to the Magic Kingdom. After spending Thanksgiving at Joan's house in Maryland, Joan and Chock planned to spend Christmas at Chock's house in Kansas with all their children. Since getting engaged on the Golden Bachelorette, Joan and Chock have been traveling back and forth between their homes in Maryland and Kansas, but they plan to find a new place to live together. They've even been spotted apartment hunting in NYC, so they plan to be together in the long run, despite the occasional bickering. The world of Asterisk, the Golden Bachelorette Asterisk, has always been an intricate dance of romance, heartbreak, and second chances. But it seems Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple have added a new twist to the mix: public bickering. Fans who had been rooting for the charming duo were recently treated to a much-anticipated cooking video collaboration that promised to showcase their chemistry in the kitchen. However, the bubbling pots and sizzling pans weren't the only things heating up. Their seemingly perfect relationship began to show cracks in real time. Joan and Chock's journey on Asterisk, the Golden Bachelorette Asterisk, was nothing short of storybook-worthy. Joan, the poised and radiant bachelorette, captured hearts with her grace and wit, while Chock, the quirky yet endearing restaurateur, swept her off her feet with his culinary flair and down-to-earth demeanor. Together, they seemed like the embodiment of compatibility. But as the cooking video unfolded, it became clear that their relationship, like any soufflé, was more delicate than it appeared. The video, titled "Cooking with Love," Joan and Chock's favorite date night dish, started innocently enough. Set in Chock's beautifully designed kitchen, with warm lighting and an inviting atmosphere, the duo began by introducing the recipe they would tackle: a classic coq au vin. Joan opened the video with her signature elegance, smiling at the camera and saying, "Cooking together has always been one of our favorite ways to connect. Tonight, we want to share a little piece of our world with all of you." Chock, standing beside her in his trademark apron emblazoned with the words "Kiss the Chef," added, "And as always, I'll be the one doing most of the cooking, because Joan still insists she's better at supervising." He winked at the camera, eliciting a laugh from Joan. At first glance, their banter seemed playful and lighthearted. But as the video progressed, the undercurrent of tension became undeniable. The first sign of trouble arose when Joan attempted to chop vegetables. Chock, ever the perfectionist in the kitchen, immediately corrected her knife technique. No, Joan. You're doing it all wrong. Let me show you," he said, reaching over to adjust her hand placement. Joan's smile tightened as she replied, "Chock, I've been chopping vegetables for decades. I think I've got this." Chock, not one to back down, chuckled and said, "Maybe, but not in a way that's safe or efficient." This prompted Joan to put down the knife altogether, crossing her arms and giving Chock a pointed look. "Fine, Mr. Chef. You chop, and I'll just stand here and supervise." Her tone was light, but viewers couldn't miss the slight edge in her voice. As the video continued, the tension escalated. Joan took charge of seasoning the chicken, only for Chock to subtly critique her choices. "Are you sure that's enough salt?" he asked, peering over her shoulder. Joan's response was quick and sharp. "Yes, Chock. Contrary to popular belief, I do know how to season food." The simmering frustration came to a head when it was time to deglaze the pan with wine. Joan poured a generous amount, only for Chock to exclaim, "Whoa! Slow down there, Joan. You're not making soup." Joan's eyes widened in disbelief as she retorted, "I'm following the recipe, Chock. Maybe you should trust me for once." The comment hung in the air for a moment before Chock tried to laugh it off, saying, "Trust you? When it comes to cooking? That's rich." Joan, clearly irked, responded with a tight smile and said, "Well, maybe you should handle this part then, since you're the expert." She stepped aside, arms folded, while Chock took over the stove. Fans watching the video were quick to pick up on the tension. Comments flooded in, with viewers expressing concern and disappointment. "I love Joan and Chock, but this video is so awkward," one fan wrote. Another added, "They're bickering like my parents. Not what I expected from this couple." The video's climax came during the plating process. Joan attempted to add a garnish of fresh parsley, only for Chock to stop her mid-sprinkle. Wait, he said, waving his hands. "That's too much. Less is more, Joan." Joan's expression hardened as she put the parsley down and muttered, "Why don't you just do it all yourself, Chock?" The final shot of the video showed the plated coq au vin, but the usual spark between Joan and Chock was noticeably absent. Their smiles looked forced as they said their goodbyes to the camera. "We hope you enjoyed cooking with us tonight," Joan said, her voice a touch strained. Chock added, "And remember, cooking together is all about teamwork, even if you don't always agree." The words, though intended to be lighthearted, felt more like an acknowledgement of the underlying tension.